Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, January the 27th, 2023. Listen, this must be a pretty hot topic because I already see some comments right now. We already got some comments popping. Grace and peace, brother built for speed. True salvation. True salvation. Grace and peace. Grace and peace. Yes, we are going to be talking about this statue that was erected. I think it was a couple of days ago in honor of Supreme Court Justice, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Grace and peace, Sister Tyra. Grace and peace. Yeah, so and I mean, this is a weird looking statue. Very weird looking. I don't know. It to me it looks I'm not gonna say satanic, you know, for the sake of others' conscience, but I will say it looks like a really weird statue. It almost looks demonic in nature, but that's just me. That's just me. And maybe that's because I know what it represents, and I know who it represents, and this particular person. We knew what their stance was when it came to human life, abortion. I've already covered her in I think it was a 5-part video series covering the whole overturning of Roe versus Wade. We went through the whole documentary of Ma'afa 21, and she was mentioned in there. And actually, we're going to hear that particular clip later on as we go through this particular live stream, or after the live stream. After I get finished reading the article, I'll play that clip of who Ruth Bader, or what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said. He said it does look demonic, poor lady. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, if you guys would go ahead and hit that like button, hit the like button. All right, let's go ahead and get into this article. Now, you guys probably see or have seen the image on my thumbnail. So that is the statue that we're talking about. If anyone is confused, it's actually that particular image. I don't know if I think they're gonna show it in this article. I think they switched the main picture because it was the picture of the statue last night when I was reading this article. But then they switched to the Ruth Bader Ginsburg's picture. So I'm wondering if they put it down, further in the article. All right, let's go ahead and read this article. And this is from the ChristianPost.com. Quote, pagan idol to abortion. Critics lambast New York City's Ruth Bader Ginsburg statue as, quote unquote, satanic. A sculpture of the late U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg atop a New York City courthouse is attracting criticism, with observers claiming that the statue has a quote-unquote demonic appearance and celebratory nature towards abortion. And I agree. I mean, even when I saw it, I was like, man, that just looks demonic at its core. But, I'm just like, maybe not. Somebody else may see it another way. But like I said earlier, because I know what it represents. Anyway, let's continue. The sculpture, titled, quote unquote, Now, was designed by Pakistani-American artist Shazia Silkander, who claims that the statue is part of an quote unquote urgent and quote necessary cultural reckoning end quote in New York. Quote, the citizens of New York should be outraged that their hard-earned tax dollars have been used for such an offensive display. Penny Nance, CEO of the social conservative activist group Concerned Women for America, the nation's largest women public policy organization, told the Christian Post in an email. Quote, this is the same city that just tore down a statue of Teddy Roosevelt because it was too, quote unquote, controversial. But a satanic symbol to glorify the murder of a child in the womb is not? No wonder New Yorkers are leaving in droves. No one should be forced to look at this disgusting graven image of evil. Tear down this statue, end quote. Yeah, and by the way, if you guys don't know, there are a lot of people leaving New York City. And there's a lot of people, New York City and California, particularly. So, yeah, it is, it's a zoo in New York. Zoo York. That's what we're going to call it, Zoo York. That's what isn't that what the rappers used to call it back in the 90s? Zoo York. All right. Oh, there we go. All right. Turn that off. Okay. Billy Gribbon, communications director for Representative Mitch McCormick, Republican of Georgia, wrote in a Wednesday tweet that they turned abortion into a pagan idol to worship and put it on a courthouse, end quotes. So here's some pictures of this particular statue. Oh, actually, yeah, this is where I got that picture from for the thumbnail. You know, it just looks weird. It really does look satanic because I mean, even the way that the hair is braided, it looked like ram's horns and stuff like that. It just looks weird. New founding and American Firebrand digital director Logan Hall also took issue with the statue, writing that, quote, decline is a choice, end quote, in a Wednesday tweet. Quote, New York City taking down a statue honoring Teddy Roosevelt and putting up a statue honoring some hideous abortion idol, Hall wrote. In another tweet critiquing the statue, Micah Bilger, a staff writer for lifenews.com, called the figure, quote unquote, demonic. Quote, when Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer and others promised to fight like hell for abortion, I think we need to start taking them literally, Bilger wrote. Abortion is demonic, end quote. It is. Abortion is I would say right now it is the most wickedest practice that can be committed by a human being to another human being. I mean, I think that a person who commits abortion, whether you pay for it or as the boyfriend, or whether you're the woman who goes and gets it done, shame on you. That is the most wickedest act that you can commit against another human being, an innocent human being who didn't even ask to be here, all because you wanted to live out your sexual pleasures and desires with someone that you don't plan on marrying. And the reason why I can talk this boldly is because I was the boyfriend that paid for an abortion. I was the boyfriend that drove her to that clinic and sat there in the waiting room waiting for her to come out. I was the one who drove her to Walgreens later to go get some medicine to help her heal up. So I can talk from experience. And even then, before I got saved, I knew it was wrong, but I did it anyway because I was selfish. So no one can sit back and tell me that I don't understand, I don't know, I'm a man. No, yeah, I've been in those. Well, I've been in one place. I've been in one abortion clinic, paid for an abortion, so I know what it's like there. And a lot of people who talk this mess, they ain't never been inside of an abortion clinic. Yeah, some have, but it's one of the most wickedest acts. The statue of Ginsburg was installed last week on the rooftop of the Appellate Division Courthouse of New York State, First Department on Madison Avenue. Sikander's artwork depicts the justice with braided hair in the shape of ram's horns. And that's what I said. I said it looks like that the hair was braided in ram's horns. Skeletal branches protruding from each side like tiny arms, and wearing a lace apron resembling the one Ginsburg wore over her robe. Daily Wire podcast host and author Andrew Clavon tweeted that, quote, New York courthouse has added this aesthetic atrocity to its sculptures of great lawmakers, end quote. Quote, it is meant to honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg's pro-abortion stance by depicting a woman with demonic goat horns who has clearly lost the power to reproduce, end quote, Clavin wrote. Or something. According to a Wednesday profile of the statue by New York Times, it marks the first female figure to adorn the court's building. The courthouse's plinths contain statues of male lawgivers before the recent addition of Ginsburg. But see, here's the thing, and this is why I always warn Christians, don't try to become a part of the culture. Because in the name of feminism, in the name of quote unquote equality, quote unquote equity, and all of these other social justice terms, this is why people like me, I push back against stuff like critical race theory and stuff. People, oh, well, why you always want to push back against critical race theory? And blah, 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 blah. Because you're trying to keep up with the culture. And we know that the culture does not respect Christian values. They don't respect God. At their foundation, they reject the word of God. They have no care for us as Christians, and they have no care for God's word. That's why we don't need to attach ourselves to anything that the culture is doing. Because when you start to do things for the culture. Well, I mean, I'm a Christian, but I'm gonna kind of lock arms with these feminists over here because I believe in women's rights, and they reel you in under these false ideologies. You, as the Christian, always compromise. They don't never compromise. They go full steam ahead with their plan, and then they drag you along, and then you be the one that compromise. So, in the name of women's rights, in the name of equality, they put a statue up of a woman who, out of her own mouth, and I'm going to play the clip earlier, who said that she believes that abortion should be it should be supported because it keeps certain populations low, or keeps the numbers of certain people groups low. And this is what the big controversy was. But, you know, people tend to forget that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Quote, she's a fierce woman and a foam resistance in the space that has historically been dominated by the patriarchal representation, Sikander told NYT. The artist said that the statue is titled quote unquote now because it's needed now as states enact abortion restrictions due to the overturn of Roe versus Wade last summer. Excuse me. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization that there is no constitutional right to abortion, restoring regulatory authority over the practice to the states. And yes, abortion is not a constitutional right. There's nothing written in the Constitution that supports the innocent killing of babies, of human beings. Now I know, oh, well, the Constitution talks about the 2/3 and they ain't never took it out and the black people and the slavery and miss me with all of that. Miss me with all of that. I was gonna say something, but that can go into that can take the conversation to a totally different direction. I ain't gonna do that. I've already cleared that up in that 4-part video. I got everything off my chest in that, talking about the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And if you guys want to check that out, that's in my playlist section. Cordell says, my 21-year-old sister-in-law told us she's pregnant and wanted to abort the baby. Thank God she eventually changed her mind and discovered that she's actually pregnant with twins. Amen. Amen, Cordell. And yes, and let's keep Cordell's sister-in-law in prayer. You know, let's keep her in prayer, because I've heard of people aborting twins, aborting both of them. Another seal calendar design is an 18-foot tall recreation of the same statue, except this piece depicts Ginsburg wearing a metal cage as a hoop skirt. The statue, titled quote unquote Witness, is located in Madison Square Park across from the court building. Quote, struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won, Sokander wrote in a tweet last week. You earn it and win it in every generation. Never Fading Words by Coretta Scott King, inspired and humbled that Hava, to breathe, air, life, now, and witness are open on MLK Day, January 16, 2023. And see, and this is what they do. This is what they do. See, in order to try to get their point across, they always have to attach black people to it. Not realizing that the whole idea of abortion historically was started to keep the black population numbers low, because when they came out of slavery, they were uneducated. They didn't have, like any land or any businesses. You basically enslaved these people for the past 200 and something odd years. Took them from Africa, black power time. Let me go ahead and put my Africa tattoo out there. You know what I'm saying? Black power hat time. You got people from Africa who, number one, didn't speak the language. Brought them to America, had them working as slaves for generation after generation after generation. And then 200 and some odd years later, when you got people who has been in the country for generations, you turn around and you turn them loose and say, okay, well, we gotta set them free. One of the first ideologies was, well, we gotta stop these people from procreating because we don't want them to end up outnumbering us. So then they started the whole ideology of eugenics. Let's see if we can curb their numbers, slow down their birth rates. Oh, and they really kicked it up in the 60s. But, again, you guys go and watch that 4-part or 5-part video series that I did, discussing the overturning of Roe versus Wade. I clearly lay all of that stuff out. But I say all of that to say These people are ignorant to the history of abortion. So then they turn around and then they want to quote people like Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. Do you believe that Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King would support abortion? This is how they get black people. This is how they get black people on their side, because black people, and I hate to say this about my own people, but a lot of times we're so ignorant and we're so ill informed that if somebody says something remotely with what we agree with emotionally, oh, we'll ride with those people all day. We'll ride with those people. Oh, hey, they mentioned Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. That's why it's just beyond me that you got black people who fight for abortion. Because I'm just like, you, maybe you just don't know what the history of abortion is and how it greatly affects our community even today. Even today. And then we want to talk about police shootings and keeping our numbers low, and oh, we don't have enough voters, and you're killing your own community and you're celebrating it, and then you're letting people who don't look like you, let's just keep it real, people who don't look like you, they don't know your culture. If we're speaking in black power terms, like a lot of y'all want to do, they don't look like you, they don't understand your culture, but then they're telling you to go out and be advocates to kill off your children. And it's not only just affecting the black community; it's affecting other communities as well. You know, white women get abortions as well. So, you know, this ain't just a just a black and white issue. But I'm mentioning that because whenever they're talking about abortion, they always like to attach black people to it. You know, like that somehow validates it. It just shows you the wickedness. Marshall K. Johnson says the Kings probably would have supported abortion. I don't know. I may have to go back and check that out. Um, I don't know. I don't know. That could be debated. I can say that. Let's go ahead and finish this article up. While Ginsburg consistently voted to strike down abortion restrictions during her tenure on the nation's high court, the late justice voiced objections to the reach of the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision and its impact. During a talk at a University of Chicago law. Oh, okay. I wonder, are they going to say that? Are they going to mention that quote? I don't know if they mentioned that quote. I may have to play that clip. But anyway, it says, during a talk at the University of Chicago Law School on May 11, 2013, Ginsburg stated, quote, Roe isn't really about the woman's choice, is it? It's about the doctor's freedom to practice. It wasn't woman-centered. It was physician-centered, end quote. My criticism, quote, my criticism of Roe is that it seemed to have stopped the momentum on the side of change, Ginsburg added. In 2019, Ginsburg recalled when President Bill Clinton considered nominating her to the Supreme Court in 1993 during an appearance on the David Rubenstein show, Peer-to-Peer Conversations. The justice claims that the Texas abortion law before Roe ruling was the most, quote-unquote, extreme in the nation, only permitting abortion if the mother's life is in danger, which I agree. That's the way it's supposed to be. And you got, and let me address this too, because I heard some people, some folks the other day on another YouTube channel saying that they won't even allow. I don't call it abortion when it threatens the life of the mother. If a pregnancy is threatening the life of the mother, I heard a guy the other day, and I've been very critical of this particular individual. I'm not gonna call his name out today because I'm feeling kind of generous. I'm feeling good this morning. But this dude said that if a pregnancy is threatening the life of the mother, We should just let the mother die because that's God's sovereign will. I'm pausing because I want you guys to let that sink in. If a woman, let's just say that she's having an ectopic pregnancy, which is where the baby, if I'm not mistaken, is growing inside of the fallopian tube. So if you guys know anything about reproduction, and the reason why I know this because my wife is a doula, shout out to her. Um, if an egg gets fertilized in the fallopian tube and it does not travel down to the uterus and it stays in the fallopian tube and the baby, continues to grow within the fallopian tube, that can threaten the life of the mother, right? So the baby and the mother will eventually perish. Now, what'll happen, because I've known a couple of women who've actually had those type of pregnancies, and what happens is that they start to have these sharp pains within their stomach, right? Within their stomach region. They go to the doctor. The doctor does an ultrasound, finds out that, hey, you know, um, you have a fertilized egg within your fallopian tube, and we got to get it out of there or you're going to die. This particular individual said that if you find that out, if that happens, then that's God's sovereign will for you to just sit there, endure the pain, and just die. So that's why I'm just like, you know, I don't even consider it abortion if, because abortion by definition is the intentional killing of a human being. If there's a pregnancy that is endangering the life of the mother, then I believe that, hey, then that medical procedure must be done in order to keep the mother alive. All right, let's go ahead and finish up this last paragraph. Quote, I thought Roe versus Wade was an easy case and Supreme Court should have held that most extreme law unconstitutional and put down its pen, she said, and this is according to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Quote, instead, the court wrote an opinion that made every abortion restriction in the country illegal in one fell swoop. And that was not the way that the court ordinarily operates, end quotes. All right. So you heard that from Supreme Court Justice, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay. Now, we got to hear what she said back in 2008. Now, again, this is the Ma'afa 21, Black Genocide in 21st Century America. It's a documentary, right? And I did play it on my channel, and we did like a whole. It took us like four parts of four live streams. I had to do 4 or 5 live streams to cover this whole thing because the documentary itself is like 2 hours and something long, 2+ hours long. So, excuse me. Let's hear what Ruth Bader Ginsburg had to say concerning abortion. Fair use. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear this.
Frankly, I had thought that at the time Roe was decided, there was concern about population growth, and particularly growth in populations that we don't want to have too many of. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, United States Supreme Court Justice, July 2000.
Now, remember, I thought that abortion was concerning women's health care. That's what we're being told, right? It's about women's health care. It's about the choice of the woman. So why is she talking about concern for population growth within certain people groups. Why is she talking about that? She says that there was concern about population growth, and particularly growth in populations that we don't want to have. She says before Roe versus Wade was um, was decided, that's what she thought it was about. That's because that's what it was about. That's what it was about. And now we got a statue dedicated to this woman who made it her lifelong, uh, the whole time that she was in office, she made it her business to make sure that abortion was being upheld. That her goal was to make sure that women were able to murder their babies in the womb. That's who we're talking about here. But anyway, guys, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm about to get up out of here. I mean, you know, a lot of you, I see that that a lot of you guys have been answering in the poll that has been pinned right here. You know, should abortion be permissible? So that a lot of y'all are voting on that. Yasuk said, why do they have to make the statue look demonic though? That's because it's demonic by nature. That's because it's evil hiding in plain sight. It's almost as if, you know, here we are, putting it right there in your face. Yeah, we're here, and what you gonna do about it? These people know what they're doing. That's why they made the statue look the way that they look, the way it looks right now. That's the reason why they did that, because they're being bold with it. They know that they could have made the statue look any other way. If you look at the other statues up there, it looks nothing in comparison to what this atrocity, you know, this abomination of desolation. I ain't even gonna go there. I'll turn the chat up with that one. Oh, that's the abomination of desolation, and we're supposed to be running for the hills right now. Let's go into the wilderness. But anyway, guys, a lot of y'all have let me know what y'all think in the in that poll. But you know, for those who are going to be watching in the replay, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Right? I mean, do you think that, you know, abortion is something that, yeah, you know, us as a Christian, you know, we can excuse me, we can discuss from time to time. This doesn't have to be one of the top subjects that we talk about. You know, both things can be true. You know, abortion is, you know, it should be about women's right to choose. It's really about the health of the woman. Or do you happen to believe that abortion is an evil act? This is the same act that Solomon led the people of Israel into by sacrificing their children on the altar of Molech. That's all this is. Modern day Molech worship. Sacrificing your children back to that idol. And this statue is a representation of that. And not only that, the Molech statue was made out of bronze, just like this one. That's something to think about, too. That's something to think about. Because if you look at all of the other statues in New York City, I think they're made out of concrete. But this particular statue is made out of bronze. Ironically, just like the Molech statue was back in biblical times. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. And with that, like this video, rate it, share it, subscribe. hit that notifications bell so whenever I get ready to go live, you guys will be the first ones to see my videos, or you guys will be the first ones in the chat as soon as I hit that live button. And with that, you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you guys next time, Lord willing. You guys enjoy your weekend.